Hello? I think I'm live. Uh, I feel like crap. I feel like crap. Been quarantined. Been told that a coworker in my office got COVID, and that because of that, I was a close contact. And my office basically told me I had to stay home and, well, be trapped for 2 weeks. I tried being proactive, and I went and did my rapid test, came negative, took my the full test PCR and proved that it wasn't enough because it was I had to wait 5 days for exposure. So they're legally mandated to make me take it on Monday. So I have to do it again. So it's already embarrassing. I showed up for the testing facility yesterday, and the doctor who was looking at me thought it was kind of absurd that I was wearing that. I told him I was wearing face mask, and we were all protected and practicing social distancing. So he basically made it seem like it's kind of pointless sending a healthy millennial to do all this blood work and tests because, well, I mean, even if you do have it, the probability of it killing you is not, or putting you in serious. Not that there aren't people who my age who don't get it and don't suffer major health issues from it. It's just that those cases are extreme, like compromised immune systems, or obese, or cancer, things of that nature would land you in the hospital more than, say, a healthy guy who goes to the gym regularly. And, well, I don't eat healthy, but healthier than most. Anyway, I decorated my house for the holidays, but now that if with this quarantine, I probably gonna have to spend in Christmas alone because, well, because I'm in quarantine and I might be negative, but I am mandated to be basically trapped at home. I'm waiting for my HR lady to show up with my computer because apparently I might be at risk of carrying contagious disease, but I'm still, you know, liable to put in a 9 to 5. There's one thing I learned. The first thing I learned about this job is that if in with a pandemic going on, you still have to. Well, you have to. I mean, so many people lost their jobs. They lost their livelihoods. The only thing that's keeping them from being homeless is basically the government intervening, but that in itself is not gonna be enough come the New Year's. When the first lockdowns happened, I was I thought in the beginning I handled it up with some stride. Then as it dragged on and on, days turned to weeks, weeks turned to several months. Kind of began to lose my mind. It, it was uncomfortable being trapped at home. Some people took pleasure in it. Some people say that some people in my office said that they enjoyed working from home. They enjoyed having that being around in a space they liked. But the difference is that with me, I don't see it as that. I am a person who advocates for a separation of home and cubicle. Okay, work is for work, a workspace is for workspace, a home is for, well, home. It's the place where you escape from the stresses and annoyances of work. And by dragging my boss's face through a Zoom call into my living room is about as god awful to me as actually having my boss in my living room. It's an invasion of my private space. And anyway, when I first joined this job, I was back June of last year. It seemed like a good job. I mean, I've worked in the architecture field. It architecture field, and I thought it was going to be a good job because I lacked technical skill and understanding of code and procedure. But in the end, I just turned into another draftsman. I would, and the jobs they would give me were somewhat demeaning. In my previous job, I did large scale design work, big projects, nothing glamorous, but they were big enough that I had some responsibility in them. And I thought it would come to my advantage, but no, because in architecture, there were the creatives who don't know anything about code, and then there are the technicians who know everything about procedure, but can't think outside the box, literally. Their job is looking deep into the box and making sure the box fit works, but it doesn't translate into anything creative. It's engineering thinking. Although there are engineers that can create wonderful things. So I joined this job, and it proved to be really depressing. I would spend weeks on end waiting for them to throw work at me, anything. It was always very menial jobs, like drafting basements and like copy pasting reports that had been done dozens of times before by other people, just retweaking the wording. I kept asking to take a bigger role and for someone to show me how to take the bigger role, but instead, no one seemed to ever have time for anything. It appeared to me is that I was in this vacuum in which nothing came my direction, but everything around me was busy. It was like being in the eye of a hurricane. Well, that was the first mistake. That was the first realization that this job sucked because my potential was being wasted. I wasn't contributing in any positive manner, and instead I was just basically standing there waiting to do anything. Wasn't just doing something, was doing anything. The benefit was that I could take my architecture exams, my entrance exams, and even with the empty space, I could study and prepare for the exams. The only problem is that then COVID happened, and then my entire study schedule was thrown out the window because, as the way I see it, there's no point in studying and memorizing and doing that if you don't know if your test will be postponed to next week, next month, or next year. And it turns out everything got postponed because, like myself, so many people had their whole plans of taking the tests thrown out. So there goes my one outlet of productivity that I would get during the day, studying for my architecture exam. Didn't go anywhere. So all I was left was to slowly lose my mind, having my anxiety rule over my brain. For the first month, I thought I was going to be fired because I was literally the last hired. That didn't happen. And then I was starting to get to a point in which I hoped they would actually fire me. I was hoping, because the idea of being trapped to this job was just overwhelmingly more horrible, and feeling the guilt that my anxiety, my mania, and my stress was just not making me do any work. Some people took advantage. There are some people who are more brazen than I am. the because oh, the pandemic became a one big chance to play hooky or federally enforced hooky. But for me, it was horrible. I kept calling my boss every day to go back to the office because the routine and the procedure of everything that gave me enough mental balance to be productive, but not anymore. So I'm back to this again. It's December, 12 days till Christmas Eve, and now I'm stuck here. On the plus side, I did move. I did buy this place. It's my first house. It was a nice place until my friends keep commenting that yeah, it's great, but it's in the middle of the ghetto. Well, it's not in the ghetto, but when you have plenty of white privileged entitled friends who only know of the Jersey suburbs, living here is the ghetto for them. Racism is a two-way street, and it's still a thing. Entitlement breeds bias, and a bias that came out of their parents and their grandparents. So I realized that I'm wasting my time with this job in which I am not asked to be creative. The work that they give me is not conducive to anything other than just keeping me busy. And I'm just unstimulated and depressed. I went from despair to just apathy. The worst thing it can be is an employee filled with apathy, because then you're not being fulfilled in any way by what you do on a regular basis. Maybe I'm just complaining. I don't know. All I ever get is people telling me that, well, no one tells me, but I hear it often enough that millennials are entitled and lazy. So maybe I'm just lazy. Could be, I guess. I'm tired of feeling guilt for everything. I feel like I never accomplish anything. That so much of what I've done has been bought by my parents or pushed by other people. That I have nothing to claim for on my own. Now I'm just waiting for this phone call for the HR lady to show up. Well, at least my tree came out nice. I didn't put a star on it. It was a tall tree, 8 foot, and there's this huge long branch that sticks out. Usually people cut it off, but I liked it. It was kind of like the spire on a skyscraper. No, vanity height, if anything. I hate how things turned out. I hate realizing that I'm wasting my time, but I can't do anything about it because without a vaccine, I'm basically stuck in my job. I don't know. I was frank about my yearly employee review that I hated everything. It will probably translates to not having a positive recommendation call when I start applying for work. To a degree, I don't care. To a degree, I do, because until I have a license or I grow gray hair, no one gives a rat's ass about a draftsman. At least one person is watching, or maybe it's just me. Well, I don't have anything else to add. I'm just depressed. COVID is proven to be a real pain in the ass. I just want to sleep. I don't want to wake up. I just want to. I just want to curl into a ball and fade and disappear out of existence because this is just what it does to my head. It's just depressing. It's just depression. All I feel is depressed. I don't feel like I'm going anywhere and that I have nowhere to go. And no matter how many accomplishments I might have, I'm not going anywhere. So I don't know if anyone will really listen to this, but that's the story of my life right now. I feel like I'm in a dead end. All right, well, bye, Internet.